So,
Fletcher, what makes Jalen such a special quarterback and leader for this football team?
I mean, his approach, number one, the way he approached things, the way he approached the team when he's speaking. He's always the same Jalen every time you see him. He don't get too high, he don't get too low, and you can't help but respect a guy like that. Even when times things are going, our way or his way, you never see him really frustrated. You never see him screaming at each other on the sideline, or screaming at a teammate for, maybe messing something up or it didn't go the way that he wanted it to go. And when you got your quarterback is like that, you definitely want to go out there and play harder for him.
After the 2026 season, I think a tough spot. How do you guys get then?
I mean, just building, right? I mean, it's always hard when you come from a bad season, and you always want to know how you're going to approach it. How is the team going to approach it? How the guys in the locker room going to approach the next year? And I think so far that we've been doing a good job at it. Howie's been doing a good job at it. Obviously, Nick's second year here, he's doing a good job at it. So we're just taking it and just trusting it and trusting him. He leading the team and he letting the leaders lead the team, and we're just going from there.
Having been to a Super Bowl and been through all that comes with it, what would be your best piece of advice to some of your younger teammates?
Just try to stay on the same routine. It's going to be hard, which is always hard. You're not in your normal building every day. You get to wake up, in the hotel every day. Just try to stick to your normal routine. Don't change nothing. Making sure that, if you were watching film here at, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. with a teammate, then make sure you do the same thing. If you're taking care of it at this time of the day, like, hey, I do cardio every day. So, I've been looking for a place, obviously, to do cardio every morning before my day gets started. So just little things like that, I just try to tell the guys just ain't the same.
Like some guys play 15 years in the league, don't get to one Super Bowl. How fortunate do you feel you've had now two shots at this and won the first one? And that's not a lot of guys do that.
I mean, it means a lot. I've been, cherishing every moment, living in the moment. The moment is right now, which is today. And, just got done with our walkthrough, obviously, just soaking it all in, letting all the guys know that, hey, man, we got a chance to do something special. And we really do, and that's going to start, with us, making sure that we have a good practice today, and take that energy and the momentum on to Arizona when we get there into practice.
What's the key to slowing down Mahomes?
I mean, he's a good player. He's a great quarterback. I mean, their offense is really good. Probably going to be it's a big test for us. Probably going to be one of the better offenses we've seen all year. I mean, he don't take a lot of hits. He don't take a lot of sacks. I mean, obviously, he gets the ball out, know where it's going, and that's going to be the challenge for us.
That you added on the D-line and the rotation, how do you feel at this point in the year as compared to years past? Do you feel fresher?
Yes, very fresh. I think I played maybe 28 snaps last week in a championship game, NFC championship game, which was probably I felt really good. And when you can do that and you keep, guys fresh in the way that we rotate, I feel really good coming out of that game.
Circle back to what you were talking about before.
Are the emotions any different than they were 5 years ago getting to this one?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this feeling never gets old, and I don't think it'll ever get old. You work so hard to get to this point, and and in reality, it's 32 teams, and only 2 teams get to go. So this feeling never get old, and you have to enjoy it.
Circle back to what you were talking about before about turning things around after 2020. When did Nick win you over?
I mean, obviously, he won me over. Obviously, they, when he got here, and all new coaches, right? You got to create a relationship with them. And once we create that relationship, coach to player and player to coach, and that relationship is good, and you understand each other and respect each other, you can't help but want to go out and play for them.
What is different about the emotions the second time around?
I mean, you kind of control them a little bit, but at the same time, there's no emotions are emotions, right? And at some point, you got to let them out. And the biggest thing is being emotional about it, but also knowing that. That the season isn't over yet, right? We haven't won nothing yet. We won the championship, yeah, but now we still got one more game to go.
When did Jalen win you over? I know, like in the 2020 season, he kind of took over for Carson, but like, were there times like early on that you knew that this guy could be your franchise quarterback?
I mean, when he speaks to us, even as one of the older guys in the room, listen to a guy third year, I think it's his third year, and. You listen to him speak, and the way that he speaks, the way that he approaches teammates, and you like, man, like this guy, he really wants it. He wants what's best for the team and not what's best for Jalen.
Was he doing that, like, as a rookie or like even going
I mean, obviously, as a rookie, I mean, I've been in that position when I've been a rookie, and you kind of don't know what to say to guys. You kind of got to learn your teammates, but when you're a starting quarterback, you have to learn really quick, and I think that's one thing that he did.
Brandon Graham
So
told
long,
me.
you and Sue were linked to each other. What's it been like being his teammate?
It's great. It's really great. I mean, still get along, man. Really good. He's a really good teammate. I'm so glad that we have him here because he's taught me some things. I've taught him some things. Obviously, we play the same side of the defense, and we talk a lot. We just asking how they're attacking you, how they're attacking him, and ways we can be better at getting after. So it's been a pleasure, definitely playing with him and having him here.
Brandon Graham told me yesterday that you
I
had.
think there's like 12 players from Mississippi in the Super Bowl, both sides. What do you think is it about Mississippi that so many of you guys come out of it?
I mean, it's special to have that many guys from Mississippi. Who would have thought? You have 12 players playing in the Super Bowl, and a lot of those, all of us come from small towns. Me and Kenny, obviously, AJ, and he's from Starkville. A couple of us went to school in the state of Mississippi, so we all get to represent the state of Mississippi, and it's very special.
Brandon Graham told me yesterday that he thinks you guys have way more talent on this Super Bowl team than the one 5 years ago. Do you agree with that?
I mean, we have different talent in different ways. Obviously, we had elite receivers back then. We got elite receivers now. We got really good tight ends back then. We got really good tight ends now. It's really hard to compare those two teams. It was so many different personalities, and that's the biggest thing. This team the personalities are way different, from the 2017 team to this team. And they're really good teams. And the biggest thing about it is now we're only really good players, but really good dudes, like really good teammates. And I think that's really the most important part of kind of what got us, to this point. Because nobody in that locker room thinks that they're better than the next person. And when you got that, I mean, it's hard to beat guys that connect and compete the way that we do.
How are the personalities different?
I mean, it's a newer generation, right? I mean, you got younger guys. Back then we had some older guys that's been around the league for a while. Now you got some guys second, third year, in the league that's doing this. Obviously, so it's different. I mean, it's 2023, so the personality definitely be different.
BJ, two more and we'll get Lane in.
Who I think we win? Man, probably 2017.
BJ said the other.
That's 20, 25, 30 minutes of low-level cardio. Nothing crazy, just beating the body up, just something to get the day going.
Is that something you've always done, or is that where you are?
Well, just where I am now, in my career. I didn't do it early in my career, but obviously, older you get, more ball you play, you kind of want to find something and get into an actual routine where you can start your day and get going. Huh?
Contributions does Jason Kelce make to this football team on and off the field?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well known. He's been like the nucleus of this team for, over a decade now. I just think with how he plays, with his emotion and his passion for the game, I just think it bleeds into everything we've been trying to do here for years, the culture. And, I think all that stuff is just because what kind of person he is off the field. So I think it goes, hand in hand.
What kind of differences or similarities do you see between Jason and his brother Travis?
I think they're both extremely serious about their jobs. Sometimes they may come off, I feel like Travis more jokingly, like he doesn't, or, is more laid back. But in order to, I think, be the level that they're at, that they obviously take their job very serious. I don't know, Travis may have more swag. I mean, from the looks at it, but O-line is a swagless position most times, so it is what it is. I mean, unless you get a 10 advisor, what are you going to do? I mean.
Lane, how you feeling, and has it been tougher going through and playing through what you're playing through?
No, I feel better now than I did initially, like the first game. The first game was my biggest challenge. I mean, obviously, last game was a challenge in itself, but I feel like the first game for me personally was was harder to get ready for because I wasn't sure I could play through it. But after like the initial contact at first in the first game, I was good. I had better confidence from the second drive on.
So you kind of learned how to play with it at this point?
Yeah, to where it's not affecting you as much. So, yeah. So I feel like, I mean, it is what it is, but it's not bothering me to the extent that I feel like it was earlier.
Are you able to kind of play without it on your mind, or are you just out there kind of playing?
Yeah, I mean, the more practice and stuff I do with it, I feel like this longer stretch has allowed, my body to heal in general. So, yeah, I think that, and then, having this additional week to practice and rehab has been huge. I don't have to press it like I did last week, but yeah, to answer his question, it was harder getting ready for the first game, the second game.
You talked about Cam Jordan playing through. Did you ever get to talk to him about playing through?
Yeah, so Cesar Ruiz was his teammate, or is his teammate, so I reached out to him, and he was pretty much said, good luck. I mean, it's going to hurt, but yeah, I mean, I think he went through it in 2020, so, after talking to my doc, Myers, I was asking, I think he said, multiple hockey players have been through it, but he wasn't sure that he's operated on guys that have played through it in football, but not to say that you couldn't, but after hearing that Cam did, that increased my confidence, so.
What kind of bond has there been? Look like, during the weekend, I guess who are some of the people behind the scenes to help you with that?
Our training staff, I'm a trainer at home. So, yeah, I mean, when I come in the building, usually treatment in the mornings, before practice, after practice, and then when I get home, do stuff on your own. So that's really been the system for the past month.
What kind of bond has been
This is sort of stuck into you in the Hall of Famer one day. Do you think of yourself that way?
I don't know. It's a tough question. I feel like, there's obviously a lot of work to do. I feel like ability-wise, I feel like, I can play with some of the great ones, but I feel like, there's still, work to be done.
What kind of bond has been developed between the four guys? Okay, go ahead.
A little older, a little wiser, a little balder. No, I'm enjoying it. I feel like the first time I didn't really, document as well as what I like, as far as pictures and memories. It was a quick week, and it was the first time going there. But the second time around, my goal is to put as much work in, much focus in as I can, but at the same time enjoy it. I feel like Friday will probably be our real time to enjoy it, maybe with our families or have a dinner. So as long as they're having fun and everybody else is good, that's what the Super Bowl's about.
Do you appreciate this more just because of everything
Yeah.
you've been through the last few years especially?
Yeah, most definitely. When you go through injuries or mishaps or anything, I feel like your perception grows different from some of the experiences you learn. So, yeah, I'm more thankful. I feel like when you miss time on the field or you're away from the game, but every time you come back, you feel blessed to be where you're at.
What kind of bond exists between the four guys that remain from that team, the four core ones who've been here for at least 10 years? And is there any additional kind of attachment at this point that you guys realize that this could be the last time you play together?
Yeah, just what an incredible ride it's been with those guys, Kelce, Fletcher, and BG. It's very fortunate to be in this position. Not a whole lot of players get to experience it, with a core group of guys. But, yeah, going forward, just like the last interview after the game, I was like, I'm thankful to be with these guys, them showing their emotion after the game. I know how much it means to them. They don't have to say anything. I've been around them for all these years. I know how they operate, and I know how much it means to them. So, it goes unsaid that I just want to give it everything I have for the next whatever days it is till the game's over, and that's really all you can do, but, enjoy it along the way.
Last one, and we'll get Kelce in.
I'm sorry, from your perspective, how did you guys rebound from where you were at the end of the 2020 season to where you are now?
Yeah, I think initial excitement came with some of the moves that we had. I feel like when you make some of those additions in the offseason, you can tell, well, that piece is going to help out a great deal. All this player is going to help out a great deal. And then I feel like the adjustment that we made in season, bringing Sue and Limbaugh here, was amazing and just spoke, I feel like, to the sense of urgency of what we're trying to accomplish this season. And as we played, you could see that we were very talented. We had a couple of mishaps there at the end of the season, but I feel like those were not good. But if there was a loss to learn from, I feel like to have a wake-up call would be right before the playoffs started. So, all that together, I feel like it's been a great year, but you could feel it really in the offseason last year, what we were trying to accomplish.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Lane.
Yeah.
JC, you waited 8 years to your first Super Bowl.
Was it 8?
Right? I think so, yeah.
2000,
Or 7 years.
I thought it was
7 years, my bad. 7 years.
Just making sure I'm not.
But still, it's a long time, a couple coaching changes. Did you ever wonder if you'd get to one, and how special is it getting to two?
Yeah, getting to one's hard. Getting to two is obviously an incredible feat by the organization, all the guys here that have made that happen. I think Brent Selleck actually talked that year, and I think he knew that the team was really special, and he was a guy that had been around for a long time at that point. And I remember him talking to the offense before the first game about how he had went to the NFC Championship his second year, and how he thought he'd just be back there every year, or we'll get him next time. And took him another 8 years after that, or 9 years to get back there. So I think it was kind of, hey, there's a sense of urgency here. We have a really good team. We have a great roster. You're only going to get so many chances to do something special in this league. And he realized it very early on that year that we had a chance to do something great. And, I think you go into every year, quite honestly, thinking you're going to go to the Super Bowl. It's hard to go into a year like not expecting to be great. It just doesn't happen often. But, I think that we made a lot of improvement over the course of last year. I think all of us collectively felt really positive going into this year. And we made a lot of acquisitions that we felt were going to improve. But you never know until you start playing. And, once we started playing, I think we all realized that, we have the talent to make it happen. It's really going to come down to, how well we execute, how well we prepare, how well we take care of the football. Really just all the things we can do to not beat ourselves, and that's going to probably dictate how far we go. So,
What kind of reservations did you have about starting a podcast while you're still a player?
So, big one was if the season goes poorly, it's going to look like a really bad look, right? And luckily that hasn't happened. I think, obviously you worry about it being a distraction. You worry about it potentially being viewed as something that's like taking away from the team or your preparation. But I think when we really looked at it, first of all, there's some other cases that have happened with either it's Bussin' with the Boys, the Draymond Green podcast had done really well in the NBA the year before when they won a championship. So I think all of these things happening with players still playing and doing the podcasts and having success on the field, that was probably the thing that really caused us to be like, you know what, we can do this, and it won't be all these negative things. It kind of quieted, I guess, those reservations, because I think the positive was, and Travis and I had thought about doing it for a couple of years, was, we get to talk to each other every week. We get to have fun. And in some ways, I feel like it's made my brother and I closer, talking every single week. I mean, normally in the course of a season, you go months without talking to each other at times, and you're so caught up in your own stuff. So, it's ended up being a great thing.
With you facing your brother, who do you think has the most stress or emotion? Your mom, your dad, you, your brother, family? I mean, who's it going to be toughest on?
I think it's always stressful for the people watching. I think that's probably more, not even just parents, I think it's coaches, fans. I mean, when you don't have control on the field of what's happening, I think that's a stressful situation. I feel like when you're playing, there's a sense of control in the outcome, and you can have a difference in it yourself, so it's a little bit less stressful. So I would imagine my parents would probably be the most stressed out. I think they are every time we're watching a game. So yeah.
Jason, What's the best way to describe how your relationship with your brother has evolved over the years?
I grew up the older brother, so I was in a much more mature, which I don't know if that's a good word to describe me, but I was more mature than him. I think when you get to a certain point being brothers, it becomes more of a peer relationship and more of, I think, I'm no longer, telling him what to do or showing him the ropes or trying to offer guidance as an older brother. Now it's more as, just a friend, and it's a different type of brother, right? And he does the same for me. I get advice from him now, which growing up didn't happen too often. So I think, the dynamics changed a little bit in that regard. We get to genuinely just enjoy each other's personalities and, who we are as individuals, and I think that makes it fun.
Offensive scheme, Jason. We hear a lot about Scott's design of the run game and Shane's play calling. Do you think that from the outside, Nick's contribution to the offensive design is maybe underrated?
I don't know. I don't know what Nick's, how people perceive Nick's contribution to the offense. I think Shane and Stout deserve all the credit in the world. They do a tremendous job each and every week. The head coach always deserves the ultimate credit. That's just the way it goes. With all the negative stuff that the head coach gets put on his plate, he should also get the positive. His atmosphere and culture that he's built within this building is a really big reason why the coaches have flourished, why the players have flourished. That's what a head coach's main role is, whether he's calling the plays or offensively, calling the plays defensively, managing the game. His number one job is to facilitate a team, an organization that is focused on improving, that is focused on working, that comes in the building with energy, that's motivated to get better. These things far outweigh what play we call on third down. And I think Nick does a phenomenal job of that. And I think he deserves all the credit in the world for that.
Will Super Bowl outcome, win or lose, have any?
I'll get right back to you. What's
Will
up?
Super Bowl outcome, win or lose, have any effect on your ultimate future plans?
I don't think so. I think I think you go in, from everybody I've been told about, when you know it's time to retire or not. You just know when you know, and it's going to be when you don't want to play football anymore. And I don't think that winning this game is going to determine whether I want to continue to play football or not. I think, I remember talking to Stout maybe 2 years ago, and I was like, I don't know when that time's going to come or when I'm not going to, how I'm going to know when to stop. He's like, you'll know. And I was like, he's like, you won't want to do it anymore. I was like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. He's like, no, it'll happen. Trust me, it'll happen. And, Howard Mudd, before he passed, gave me the advice, when in doubt, don't. He said, you can use that for anything, by the way, not just retirement. I think, I don't know when that's going to happen. Obviously, I contemplate it every offseason at this point, but I'm just going to appreciate the next, week and a half now with the guys in this room and all the coaches, and hopefully put together another special game for the season. Yeah, I'm nervous about it. I don't know if she can flip a coin. I'm going to be quite honest. I've never seen her do it, but we could get her some coaching, I'm sure. That'd be pretty cool, but I'd imagine the NFL's got, some awesome options for that as well. So we're getting enough publicity in this game. I don't know that we need to keep going that far.
In circling back to coaches, you've been here with coaching changes.
Mm-hmm.
Every coaching change that coach has had success pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Is not the norm elsewhere. What do you think has been the secret, for lack of a better term, to
Yeah.
success of coaches?
Well, I think we're a great organization. I think that, if you look at through all the change, I really do think the Eagles have done a phenomenal job of keeping pieces and parts that they think will hold everything together so that it goes and there's good buy-in and there's still a solid culture and foundation to build on. Jeff Stoutland's been here for 10 years now, and he's been here this is his third head coach he's been here with. And, that's not common in the NFL when there's coaching changes, that you retain somebody that many times. There's many people in this building that have gone through these coaching changes, including, we just mentioned the 4 guys that have been here, myself included, for a decade plus now. So I think, the blow it up method is hard to reload everything with. I think when you have a good culture established that far precedes me. This culture was established, I would say, with Andy Reid. Maybe they would say those guys would say even before that. We have a great locker room. We have a lot of guys that care for one another. And I was brought into that as a young player. And, I think that the organization has done a phenomenal job of continuing that through all of these changes, as well as, I think how we, as much as people have not given him credit for a lot of things in the past, it's hard to not give him credit this year. He's been, quite frankly, and the whole front office has been really, really good at finagling these changes and moving things around and getting rid of contracts that you didn't know whether that was going to be able to happen. And they've done a phenomenal job of that at every step of the road when we've had to kind of retool. So I think probably both of those.
Last one, please.
As well as making good head coaching hires.
You guys obviously have a very good offensive line and a lot of accolades. Isaac, for whatever reason, seems to be the least represented when it comes to that stuff. What has he meant to this team this year, especially coming back from the injury, moving from the left side to the right?
Yeah, I keep telling him he needs to start a podcast. He'll start making the Pro Bowl, and it'll be great for him. Isaac has been a really special player in this building for a long time, and we've all known that. And I'm glad that he's starting to get the recognition publicly. He's a guy that can play any position up front. At 1 year he played tight end, tackle, guard, and center. He's incredibly smart. He's incredibly physically gifted. I think sometimes he's so smart that he doesn't get credit for the physical capability that he has, which is tremendous. He had a catastrophic injury last year. I remember being very emotional about it because I know the severity of that injury. And he's come back and, has been out there every step of the way and has had a tremendous year coming off of that injury. So, and then on top of that, he's the constant professional, like the best teammate you could ask for. Very willing and able to assist his teammates, whether it's in the meeting room or on the field. He doesn't talk as much as I do, which is good because when he does speak, you realize how important it is, and it comes with more meaning. And if we had 2 people talking as much as I did, nothing would ever get done. So I think it really helps having his personality for me, quite frankly, in my own psyche. And I think that a lot of guys feel that way.